Hello. I had a Zoom conversation the other day with two friends, and friend number one indicated that she was very bored with her job. Friend number two said, "Wow, you're so lucky. I wish I had time to be bored." And I saw the look on friend number one's face. She didn't look very lucky. She looked quite distressed and frustrated. And boredom is a very aversive state. If you're someone who's sitting there trying to do your work and you're not feeling you're using your skills, you're doing the same thing over and over again, the day can feel like it stretches on forever. So what do you do if you're bored? One thing that you can do is craft your job. And job crafting is the idea that you can self-initiate some change in your work to sculpt it and make it better fit with you and your interests and your abilities. So researchers have identified several different sorts of crafting. One sort of crafting, which is called job resources crafting, so increasing the resources in your work, is about saying, well, there are certain things we know make work better. For example, having autonomy, for example, feeling that you're using your skills. So can you craft your job to get more of those elements? Can you ask your supervisor for more autonomy? Can you negotiate some opportunities to learn some new skills? What things for coming out of COVID might you need in order to cope with the increasing digitalization of work, for example? We're talking a lot about the future of work and how it's really critical that people are adaptable and learn new skills. Well, now could be a terrific time to do that. Another sort of crafting is to make your work just more challenging. So are there some new tasks that you could take on? Could you offer to help some colleagues? What are the things that you really like doing in your job? Can you expand those elements of your work? A third way that you can craft your job is not so much about changing the tasks, but about thinking about the social aspects of your work, because relationships are resources too. How can you build those relationships right now? Can you expand your network? Are there some people whose work you've always really wanted to understand? Could you reach out to those people and try to learn more about them? Could you offer to mentor someone? Could you ask to be mentored? And then finally, I want to talk about a more cognitive form of crafting. And this is really more about thinking about your job in a different way. So the classic research that led to this notion of crafting investigated hospital cleaners. And what they found was that there were one group of cleaners who saw their job as cleaning, and that's all that they did. But there was a second group of cleaners who defined their job not just as cleaners, but as healers and as hygiene protectors. And they engaged in additional tasks. For example, they would escort visitors sometimes to the ward when the nurses were too busy. Late at night, when they were the only people around, they would sometimes sit and talk to the patients. So they engaged in these other activities, which they saw as helping to heal people. If you're short on ideas, talk to other people who do your work. Talk to your supervisor. Maybe they've got some good ideas about how you can make your work more stimulating and interesting. So in the end, boredom isn't a luxurious position at all. It's corrosive. And it eats away at you. It eats away at your sense of meaning and purpose in your work. So have a look at the list of ideas that I've put in the blog. And I encourage you, if you are bored, to pick one of those and try and implement it and see if it makes a difference to your health and well-being and productivity in your work.